Okay, here is cost and budget update part 2. If you've been following along with the build, we did part 1, I'm going to say probably a month or two ago. And this is a continuation of the cost of our build. And I'm going to continue doing these cost and budget update videos as we continue on the build to keep you guys abreast on where we're at with what things are costing. If you're watching this video and it's the first one you've watched in our build series, I highly encourage you to go back and watch the videos up to this point. That will give you a good understanding of where these numbers are coming from. Each build can be a little different. Different people have different tastes and different preferences. I may have splurged in an area that you may not have splurged in, or you may like something that I don't like, or I may like something that you really don't care about. There's a lot of places where you can spend a lot of money, and there's a lot of places where you can cut costs. And that's where each build is unique, and each the cost for those builds are going to vary greatly. So if you go back, watch the videos, I'll link some of them as we go throughout this video so you can go back and kind of see where we're getting the numbers from. It'll give you a better idea of why these numbers are what they are. Location also has a big part in it. I'm originally from Ohio, and I'm going to tell you straight up that when it comes to the foundation, Ohio is way different than North Carolina. And that's all going to factor. I mean, you may be watching this from halfway around the world. I have no idea what your labor costs are going to be, or your materials, or if you can even get materials or labor. So it would behoove you to go back and kind of see where we have gotten these numbers from and what these numbers will get you in the North Carolina area. It'll give you a ballpark maybe if you're close by Western North Carolina. I'm just north of the Charlotte area, and it's a bit different down here. This is my first build. I'm not a general contractor. I'm not a construction guy. I'm a pilot by trade, and hence I'm kind of stuck out on the road right now. So I'm coming to you from my hotel room in Denver, Colorado. And that's what I do during the day, and I'm a DIYer in my off time, and I've just decided to try my own build. Actually, we have decided, my wife and I, she's a big part of this as well, and maybe I can get her in some videos later on down the road, and that would be pretty cool. Anyways, this video is going to be on the foundation cost for our build up to this point. If you've been watching the videos, you know that we've already went vertical on the build for the garage. We're building the garage first and then going to move to the house. And I'm to the point in the build right now where we're ready for our rough-in frame inspection and exterior rough inspection as well. So we're getting ready to put the exterior finishes on, and we're moving right along with the build. So this is going to be a little catch-up to get you guys caught up to what the foundation cost us. And this is not an all-inclusive right now. We have a few outstanding items, and I'll touch on those a little bit later in the video. But let's, without further ado, let's kind of get into these numbers here so we can get you guys on to some other YouTube video that you want to watch. Hopefully they're mine on the channel. You can go back and watch those. So I won't take up too much of your time. I've broken this analysis down into two parts. One part being the labor, the other part being materials and supplies. The labor is broken down further into three subcategories. The grading for the lot, if you've been following along, I'll put a link if you're not aware, but we're kind of building on a hill, and the front of the lot was high and the back of the lot was low, so we needed to cut the front, fill the back. We had to have a dozer come in for a few days and grade the site and get things close to being level. That grading cost us $2,000. The next phase was to have the footer installed. We had some excavation done for the footer and the footer pour itself. That cost was $5,595. Then the final phase was the garage slab pour, which was a 4-inch thick slab with a turn down edge on top of the footer, and the frost wall for the house build, which was a 36-inch wall 12 inches thick at the bottom and then step down to an 8-inch thick wall at the top. And the reason behind that will be, I think I showed it in some earlier videos, but we'll also touch base on that down the road as well, because we haven't officially started going vertical on the house yet. But the labor for that was $14,515. Was a little higher than what I thought we would get it done for, but again, North Carolina, most crawl spaces are done with block, so there's a lot of contractors out there that know how to lay block, and hence the price is a little bit lower. Poured walls is not the case. We actually had to go with a commercial contractor to get the poured wall done, and we actually have a couple of mistakes they're going to fix, and we need to go back. When we get to that point, I'll shed some light on what those areas are. But total labor, we're $22,110, gets us to where we're at with the lot graded, the foundation put in for both the garage and the house. Materials, the big things with materials, again, 3 areas: stone, concrete, and rebar. The stone we had brought in, I had 4 truckloads of stone brought in. We had to have a construction drive built. That was 2 loads of crusher run that we had laid down, which got us, I'm going to say 10 to 15 feet wide by 100 feet long. That got our base started for the drive. And then I had 2 loads of 57 washed brought in. That was for underneath the garage slab and for around the footer of the house to install the drain. We covered the drain up with stone, and I'll touch a little more on that when we get to the waterproofing section. But stone total cost for those 4 loads was $2,200. I don't have the breakdown between trucking cost versus the actual stone cost. That was the total cost. Concrete, we had a total of 74 yards poured and roughly about $160 a yard on average, and that came out to $12,003.26. And I say 160 on average because the mixtures were a little different. The footer mixture was different than the mixture for the poured wall and for the slab. So it kind of varied a little bit, but on average is about $160 a yard. The rebar, we had lots of rebar put in the wall. The wall's not going anywhere. The foundation is not going anywhere in this house. But we had a lot of rebar put in. We also had some lumber that we had to purchase for the step down from a 12 to an 8-inch wall. We had to make some forms, and that I captured the expense for that lumber here, but that lumber was also repurposed into the garage build. We had a lot of 2x10s that we had to buy, which are kind of pricey. Those were used when they were done with the walls and the forms and tore them down. I actually used those for the build on the garage. So they were dual purpose, which was nice. Total cost then for the rebar and supplies was $3,201.59, which gave us a total material cost of $17,404.85. That was for stone, concrete, rebar, and the lumber. Then we have 3 other miscellaneous areas. Since we're in North Carolina, we're in termite country. We had to have a termite treatment done. That was $650 both. That covered both the garage under slab and the crawl space for the house. Waterproofing, I have a video on that. I actually have 2 videos on that. Waterproofing ran $480.86. That is for the footer drain tile and the fittings and the landscaping fabric and the rubber coat that we put on the poured wall and the edges of the garage slab. We also had a compaction test done because we had some cut in the front and some fill in the back. The fill areas, we wanted to have a compaction test done to make sure that it would support the foundation on the house. So glad we had that done. I also have a video out on that I'll link. I think very important for me anyways, peace of mind. It was relatively inexpensive. It was $331.61, and that allowed me to sleep at night. So I'm glad I did it. So the miscellaneous runs us a total of $1,462.47, and that gives us a foundation total of $40,977.32. That's all in foundation, site prep, grading, and gets us to where we're at right now. This video is a little bit behind in that we've already went vertical in the garage, and I'm going to get another cost analysis done on that when we finally do our siding and trim finish, exterior finishing purchase, and I'll have an accurate number on that. And then we'll move over to the house and we'll just keep going with it and keep you guys up to date. So that's all I have for tonight. I encourage you, if these numbers don't make sense, or if you're wondering, well, what exactly did he get for that? 40,977.32. Go back and watch the other videos. Better yet, subscribe and follow along with the build, and then these numbers will make sense when I post it out or post the video, and you'll understand what that figure actually got us in the end. So it'll make sense, make more sense to you if you've watched those and keep up with the build. But otherwise, from this point on, I'm expecting to not use a whole lot of contractors. So I think this was probably one of the biggest expenses for the build. I'm hoping moving forward, a lot of it's going to be done by myself and some help with family members and friends and stuff. So I think that'll be a big plus. And I mentioned also that we're not quite all in on the foundation. We still need to pour some piers for the porch posts, both for the front and the back. I think I'm going to try to tackle that myself. I'll get those costs wrapped up when we get over into the house build and the exterior finishes. I'll pass those along to you and include them in at that point. But again, that's all I got for tonight, and I will, I guess, see you on the next build. I should be back in town hopefully in the next couple of days, and back on the build site, and we'll get some more videos out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.